Welcome to the Passionpreneur Experience, where I examine the thoughts, energy, and strategy a side hustler needs to grow their entrepreneurial dreams, all while they work their corporate 9-to-5 day job. I'm your host, Bridget Cobb. Now let's get started. Hello, my people. How are you doing today? I am doing great and really loving how 2020 is shaping up already. So I'm very excited about this year, guys. I think really big things are going to happen, and I'm excited that we're all going to get to experience it together. So that leads me to my topic today, which is all about progress and not perfection. And that's a mantra that I have really embraced over the past, I'd say 6 months, to spur on and kind of follow from last week's episode, massive action. And it has actually created opportunity and results and momentum beyond what I thought was possible. Obviously, sitting on this idea for 15 years really started to embed the thought of, man, this is going to be so hard and this is going to really shake up my life forever. And that stopped me from doing a lot of things that I was completely capable of doing. And I started to hide behind this idea of, well, I know the standards that are set for me and that I set for myself within my corporate life. And when I'm in my corporate job, I know the bar and where it's at and where I need to be. And it's important to me to put out my very best work at all times and not settle for anything less. And I was really applying that same badge of perfectionism to my side hustle. And again, recognizing that I was working with about half the time that I have allocated to my day job that I get for my side hustle. You know, I don't get 8 hours a day for my side hustle. I get far less than that. Yet I was expecting that exact same level of output and quantity of output for the Passionpreneur Experience and for Bridget Cobb Coaching that I was my corporate day job. And that was really holding me back from growth, from opportunity. So as someone that happily and proudly called themselves perfectionism, the thought of moving forward without a plan completely hatched, vetted, and tested by customers left me feeling very anxious and unsatisfied with that strategy. And, you know, the thoughts, I validated that quite easily in my head, like, hey, what's the big deal? What's the problem with having high standards? It means that I'm going to have really high quality work. I'm going to avoid churn or costly mistakes. And isn't that a good thing? I mean, and don't I want a good reputation out there? You know, I'm just launching. I don't want people to think I'm not professional or I don't know what I'm doing. I could lose, you know, all my customers because there was this thought thrown in my head, like I'm only going to get customers when I launch. You know, if I don't launch with a huge amount of customers, then I'll never grow. There were a lot of interesting thoughts swirling around in my head that kept me from really trying anything or producing anything. Because I was always able to look back on it and say, that could be better. That could definitely be better. It's not ready yet. So as it turns out, the world's much more forgiving than I gave it credit for. And, you know, I'm not saying throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. I'm saying we can sometimes be too hard on ourselves. And perfectionism is a dangerous term to label ourselves with. Now, don't get me wrong, you know, having that super high standard or setting a really high bar does produce great quality work. It absolutely does. And I love having a high bar for myself. What I did notice, though, is that sticking so firmly to that bar was basically cutting in half the amount of productivity I was actually capable of putting out. And it caused me to hold on to big ideas. It caused me to, worst of all, miss out on high growth opportunities because I thought they carried just a bit too much risk. Or I thought, if people see that and it's not fully fleshed out, they'll never come back to me again. I only get the one chance. So in the end, I had to take a hard look at this thought of perfection and this high bar that I'd set for myself, and really come to some conclusions around, is this helping me grow or is this actually holding me back? And what I found is it was holding me back in a pretty substantial way. I had to take a look at perfectionism and see it for what it was. And in my case, it was a wolf in sheep's clothing. So it was doing more damage to me than good. And I came to a couple of conclusions around what this actually was for me and what it often is for other people. So I identified, number one, fear of failure. It's a big one. I mean, call it trial and error, process of elimination, or straight up failure. But it can be, obviously, it's a bummer when you don't get the desired result that you want. But fear of failure can also absolutely paralyze you when it comes to taking any sort of risk or building the plane as you fly it, and really going through some fun experimentation. So if you're looking for that cure to analysis paralysis, which is very common, it's out there holding you back, making you do that little bit more research or editing it just that one more time, and allow you to evolve and iterate your process or your product, your concept, alongside the voice of your customer. So when you put that first, and I mentioned this before, that MLP, that minimal lovable product out there, and then you hear back from your customers, you can even beta test that. Maybe you send it out to a small group of customers to say, hey, have a look at this, have a play with it, and give me some feedback so I can understand what you loved about it and what you did not love about it. You're going to better evolve your idea, your concept, your product, with real insight from real customers than trying to hold on to it for as long as possible while your customer moves on and finds a new solution. All right, so that fear of failure, it's easy to disguise that as perfectionism. And when you can recognize that it's actually fear holding you back and not just a high work ethic or a high standard, then you can start to build strategies around, okay, how do I address the fear and move forward anyway? And like I said, that could come around testing your product or a small release. It could come around saying, I'm going to face the fear and I'm just going. I'm going in and I'm going to learn lessons, and whatever lessons come out, that's going to help me in iteration 2 or version 2 and version 3 and 4. Because guess what? It's always going to evolve. It's very unlikely that the first product you put out is the product that it is for the rest of your life. So you might as well get it out there and start actively learning from the people that matter most, and that's your customer. Second thing that I think perfectionism hides or masks is that feeling of comfort zone. When you're in the comfort zone, you have a system, let's say, that works, then going outside of that system can be very uncomfortable. And as humans, we like to be comfortable. That's our lizard brain saying, "Hey, don't put yourself out there. Don't take risk. Don't put yourself in harm's way." That's not what we do. We look after ourselves and we make sure that we're comfortable and safe. What that really can do, though, is it can stop you from growing. So if you find yourself saying, this, I don't want to come out of my comfort zone because, hey, it works as it is now. And if I tack on this extra idea that I have, it hasn't evolved to the way my core product has. My core product is strong, and I'm scared of my new idea. I'm scared of my new enhancement because it hasn't been tested. That's uncomfortable for me. Then this is your opportunity to challenge yourself and start to build a healthier relationship with risk. Your core product got that way because it has been out there being used and through the time tested with your customer. So we can forget that there was a time where we launched that for the first time and we put it out to the world, and it got the way it was because we gave our customers opportunity to tell us what they loved and what they didn't love. So if you feel yourself actually hiding behind this comfort zone, now's the time to challenge that and see how you can break that habit of staying comfortable and get out there, take some risk, and potentially grow leaps and bounds from it. The last one identified is funny because it's the exact opposite of number one. It's actually the fear of success. So a lot of times we can hold back on taking big risk or getting out there, launching before we're ready because we're afraid of success. A lot of times that underlying thought behind the fear of success is actually imposter syndrome. What happens if I put it out there and it's a raging success? Am I prepared to handle that? Do I know what to do with myself if that happens? Do I deserve that kind of success? I'm not quite sure I do. So we hide behind, it's not quite ready yet. I think I need a little bit more of this or tweak that, because we are actually fearful of succeeding. And that can be hard to recognize sometimes because it's buried with a lot of other thoughts around our own inadequacy. So taking a look at that true fear and recognizing that it really could be a fear of success is powerful, because that can open the door to very well-deserved growth and opportunity, because it's likely you are absolutely in a space to receive that success and to properly manage it. So again, this thought, this feeling of perfectionism, I believe the antidote to hiding behind perfectionism is progress. It is moving forward, taking steps before you're ready, before you feel 100% confident. Going ahead and taking that step anyway is going to allow you to really see what type of growth potential is available there for you. And as you do that, be kind to yourself. Be open to the learning opportunities that you are going to encounter as you move forward. And that could be through feedback from your customer. That could be through results of, let's say, that online course that you put up, and you don't see a huge number of sales coming into your cart. This is a time to reach back out and say, hey, what was anybody that's taken a look at the course but didn't purchase it, I would love some honest feedback so that I can bring more value to the table. So if you struggle with perfectionism, my advice to you is to apply the antidote, and that is progress. That is simply taking action and moving forward without the fear sitting behind it. It's a healthy relationship with risk. It's a healthy understanding of how learning happens in a business, that you may put something out there that is experimental or new, and the best way to learn about how to improve that process is to put it in front of a customer and see what they love and what they don't love. All right, so while perfectionism, again, it's out there, it might be a badge we wear proudly, I encourage you to challenge it and see what's really sitting behind that definition of yourself or that identity. And most of all, as I always come back to, make sure it's serving you. If it's actually holding you back, it's time to challenge it and maybe take on this mantra for yourself. Again, that is progress, not perfection. So I'll leave that with you. Now, I'd love to hear from some of you around how you've challenged this yourself, or if this is a concept that has come up for you. So if you're in the Passionpreneur Experience online community, jump on in and share your story, and let's get some conversations around how we've challenged perfectionism in our own businesses and push through to really take advantage of opportunity when we see it and to make progress for our businesses and for our customers. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on the Passionpreneur Experience podcast. I'll see you here next time. Are you building your side hustle business all on your own? Well, you don't have to. Engaging with and being accountable to a supportive community will increase your productivity and keep you on track. Join my private Facebook community, the Passionpreneur Experience, and connect with like-minded side hustlers just like you. Head to the show notes now for a link to the group and start building the business of your dreams.